Hello, Slashers, Crypt here, and welcome back to my channel. Now for today's video, I'll be reviewing the Find Freddy's movie. Man, it has been such a long wait since this movie was first announced. This was announced years ago. It is finally coming out when people were starting to think that it would never see the light of day. But with that said out of the way, let's get into this review. First and foremost, let me just say that I've seen how the critics are panning this movie and just basically critiquing the hell out of it. I honestly don't think it's as bad as people think it is. Yes, it definitely has its flaws. I still do enjoy the film for what it is, but it is not without its flaws. Definitely not. Now, let me start with the cinematography first. First and foremost, they did a great job bringing the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria to life. Man, the atmosphere of this place is perfect in this movie. From the exterior with the Freddy Fazbear sign, to the interior with the arcade games, and the ball pit, and even the stage where the animatronics, perform and everything. Everything looks so up to par with the first game, and they did a great job at really bringing this location to life and fully fleshing it out and making it look like an actual place. Speaking of the animatronics even, I think the animatronics here look amazing and are very faithful to the first game, and even the way that they move and behave, it's all very authentic looking and very close to the first game. They did a great job overall. Now for the music score. I feel like the music score in this movie is ominous like it should be. I feel like they really do a good job capturing that ominous sound of the first game in the music score. Now for the writing of the story, and this is where a lot of my issues come from. Yes, overall, I think the story in this film is okay, but it has a ton of flaws. First and foremost, the main character Mike, he is dealing with some sort of traumatic experience from his childhood, and basically this experience is affecting him hard into adulthood, and I'm not gonna say what it is. I'd rather you guys go see the movie yourself because it's supposed to be a spoiler-free review. This experience is driving him mad pretty much. Basically, it feels like the film focuses on this trauma that he has rather than the Five Nights at Freddy's, not just the animatronics, because it does put a fair bit of focus on the animatronics, but the concept of Five Nights at Freddy's, they don't really fully focus on the concept of what the movie's about itself because they're so focused on this plot line. And yes, they can still focus on the plot line without it taking over half of the film. And it's hard to talk about because, again, I don't want to spoil anything. And they can still delve deep into this plot line without doing it to the point that it's drowning out the other stuff going on. And they literally showed a specific scene like 3 or 4 times, but in different ways. And I felt like it's just a bit frustrating because, again, that's what I felt like a lot of the film was about that specific plot line. And yes, it does tie into the main story. I just feel like the execution's a little off and they don't need to be focusing so hard on this one specific thing, if that makes sense. Another thing for the film that I had an issue with is, I'm not gonna say what it is outright, but I'm gonna say a phrase because I think I'm just gonna start saying phrases every time I want to say something without spoiling it. But all I'm gonna say is Fort Freddy. That's all I'm gonna say. For those who've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's a scene that I feel like really drowns out the horror from the movie because, Five Freddy is supposed to be scary. I feel like this is one of those scenes where I'm like, I don't feel like it's really needed in here. Like, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to build character development, and good on them, but I don't really feel like it's needed in the scene, or not at the capacity that they do it in. It's not like a big issue, but it's just something I think about. I'm like, I don't think it's really like necessary. Another thing that I want to mention is that there's like a jump scare that they do like twice in the film, and it's of a small thing, and you guys who have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, but that's another thing that I felt like wasn't really necessary, like the way that they did that particular jump scare, and they did it twice, and both times I'm like, why? Like, why did they get scared of that, of all things? And let me also just say real quick, the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise is very well known for its jump scares, and when you put that into mind, the jump scares in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, they're not good. Like, and I'm not saying that I want the film to be filled with jump scares, because I don't. But I'm just saying that the jump scares just aren't good in this. Like, it feels like they try a little too hard to scare people out of their seats. And the jump scares, again, just aren't good in this. They're not scary, they're not surprising. And the film in general it's not scary. Like, it doesn't go for the horror tone that I was hoping for, which it's like, because I was hoping for like a horror tone that is like the first game, but I mean, it's fine that we didn't get exactly that. I still think that what we got was still a fun movie overall. Again, it has a ton of flaws, but it was still fun. As for the acting, I will say the acting, it's, without being rude, I will say that it was not really that great. I've definitely seen worse, don't get me wrong, I've definitely seen worse, but it's, yeah, I didn't really think it was anything all that great. Like, it felt like it could be better, but I'm afraid we gotta get to the scoreboard and wrap up this review. For the cinematography rating, I'm gonna have to go with a 9, just for the fact of how well they replicated the Freddy Fazbear location. They did a great job. For the music score, I'm gonna have to go with an 8. I feel like they did a pretty good job with the music here and making the film sound as ominous as possible. For the writing and the story, I think I gotta go with a 5. I definitely feel like they could have whipped up something way better here, and the story, in my opinion, is definitely not up to par compared to what it could be. Now for the acting rating, I'm probably gonna have to go with a 6. Not to be too harsh, again, I've seen worse acting, but the acting could be a bit better, if I'm being honest. Now for the final verdict, I think I'm gonna have to go for a 7, and I can only really recommend this movie to fans of the games, because I know for people who aren't fans of this game, they probably won't resonate with it as much as people who grew up playing this game and watching people play it. So I don't think I could really recommend it to everyone. For the final statement, we gotta give EDP Chica's cupcake so it can eat his asshole. And that's it for the review. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie does hint at a possible sequel, and I'll be honest, I'm on board if they decide to make one. I just hope that they improve on some of the issues of this movie if they do decide to do it. This movie could have been a lot better. I still enjoyed it, but it could have been a lot better. That'll be all for today's video, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, be sure to like, subscribe for more content, subscribe to become a Splasher. All social media links in my merch that's going to below. Thank you guys so much for watching my review of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. But I'm out of here, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget, guys, to keep on slashing.